morning, everyone, and thank you for gathering to hear my story. For those of you who may not know me, because some of you I don't know, my name is Marla Eve, and I am married to George Eve, the guy in the third last row in the middle section here with the beard and glasses. And he's my dear, dear husband. I was born in Port Arthur, Ontario. Now you think, Port Arthur, what's that? If any of you paid attention in geography class, Port Arthur and Fort William were known as the Lakehead or the Twin Cities. And in 1969, they amalgamated and became Thunder Bay. So I am from Thunder Bay. I am the eldest of 5 children. I grew up in the 1950s and 60s, so don't do the math. I went to Sunday school and church from a very young age. Now, I would like to quote a very well-known verse for you here. Jeremiah 29, verses 11 to 14a. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me. Now that's a part that I would like to add on, because usually they stop at to give you a hope and a future, but there's a little bit extra on here. Then you will come and call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart, and I will be found by you, declares the Lord. I felt from a young kid, I just felt led to be a seeker of God. And I'm not saying that to brag and make you think I'm all holy and pious and everything. I'm just saying that's just the way it was. Now, for many years, I thought my good and bad deeds would be put on a scale. God would be doing that. And I hoped my good deeds would outweigh the bad. My parents stopped going to church after a while. They'd taken us and they quit going. But I continued to attend Sunday school and other church activities. I was presented with the gospel during a communicant class at the Presbyterian church that I attended, and at the age of 17. Now, I don't know why, I don't know if the Spirit of God impressed it on me, but I began to realize that this was more than just a free ticket to heaven here. I just felt instinctively that God wanted commitment, and I hesitated. I thought to myself, well, no, he'll probably want me to go be a missionary to Africa. And by the way, there are people in this room who are more obedient to that particular calling than apparently I was at the time. So that's a good thing. So I said to the minister, no, at the communicants class, I said, no, I'll do that at home. Okay. So the next day he invited me and George, whom I was dating at the time, to his home, and he sat me down and he said, Marla, did you pray to accept Christ into your heart last night? No, I didn't. Well, how about doing it right now? Oh, same excuse. No, I'll do that when I get home. Well, I think the Holy Spirit was really working, and he just very gently pressed me. He said, well, why don't you do it now? And I think God's Spirit just broke away all that resistance, and I said yes. And the rest is history, and I'm glad I said yes. Now, I knew I was a sinner. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, or do drugs, or any other things that teenagers do. That was bad, but I knew that my little sins offended God's holiness. And so I didn't have a problem that way. Over the next few years, I went to a lot of Bible studies and learned to walk closely to God. I thank those who mentored me and invited me to Bible studies. I really am. From a young age, I felt very condemned by my parents. Now, my parents were horrible people. They were not. But just the way they were raised, I don't know. Any misbehavior was magnified, and the mantra of my life was behave. Behave yourself. I always felt very guilty when my parents scolded me, and I felt that I must be a very bad girl. It seemed that my mother thought that all of us children were very badly behaved. Believe me, we were not. And sometimes I would think, Mother, you have no idea what a badly behaved child is, not a clue. I had friends that, man, you wouldn't believe what they got away with. She even said one day that the children's aid should take us. That was very hurtful, and I realized years later that she likely had some mental health issues. These continued for many years, eventually causing estrangement with us. However, she was really not a horrible person, and she loved the Lord. My dad, for many years, was emotionally distant. He did not encourage me in anything. He was very unhappy in his marriage to my mom, and they eventually separated. Now, I married George at the age of 19. Nobody gets married at 19 anymore, I don't think. We have had a good marriage for nearly 53 years. I'm still in love with him. I still am. And I've never regretted it. To this day, I wouldn't pick anybody else over him. We have 2 sons, both married with families, a total of 5 grandchildren in all. Now, over the years, my mom's mental health did not improve. She suffered for a long time from a condition, self-diagnosed, mind you, but I think she was probably right, from a condition called agoraphobia. Literally, that means fear of the marketplace. When a person is out in public, in a store or wherever, sudden panic attacks is irrational, but panic attacks take over. And they're very fearful, particularly if they have no escape. So she suffered for that for a long time. A lot of anxiety and fear. She was anxious about everything. Long story short, she fell out with all of us except our youngest brother, whom she had sort of a smothering hold on. He could do no wrong. All of this, which I will not go into detail about, it would take too long. I've processed it all through. It was very hurtful at the time, and it took years for me to process. One day, God spoke to my heart and said, "Call your mother." I thought, "What? Are you sure? Is that what you said, Lord? I don't think she wants to talk to me." I said, "Did you really mean that?" I didn't hear anything. When God doesn't repeat himself, you know that he means what he said the first time. All right, okay, I did so very trepidatiously and surprisingly was well received. So for a few years after that, we got on well. We never fought, we never argued or yelled at each other, nothing of the sort. As kind as she was to me, I don't think she trusted me. Anyway, I prayed for years that there would be a reconciliation in the family. My siblings were very hurt by her rejection. She died in 2018, no reconciliation. Why not? I prayed for this. Isn't that God's will, don't you think? That we are reconciled to our family, sure, that's God's will. You can answer that prayer. Why not? Well, no closure for any of us. So I had to learn that I had to find my closure with God. And that can be helpful when you just have to trust it to God. My mother was saved. She's not depressed or anxious anymore. She's in heaven with God. Whatever the problem was, I believe has been cleared up. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. And just recently, from time to time, I would go over some of the things in my mind that she used to do and say, and I thought, okay, enough, come on, enough of this. So I'm going to choose to stop that, and instead, choose to totally forgive her and be thankful for all the positive things she said, and there were some. Gratefulness is a very healing tool. On to a different subject. Starting in the early 1990s, I learned the art of porcelain doll making, and I became proficient at it. Brag, brag, brag. Not really. I joined the Doll Artisan Guild, which is a worldwide organization that holds conventions and competitions every year. I went to their school of doll making and earned certification. I have sold a number of dolls over the years, but really did not get rich doing that. I feel that God has gifted me with creativity, and I enjoy that. So I learned, why not let this give me joy and glorify God in it? Why not? But when I die, I don't want to be remembered. Excuse me for a moment. Do you hear?
There is. I'm trying to work on it, but I can't get it.
Okay.
Just keep going.
Okay. When I die, I don't want to be remembered for the dolls I made, but for my faith and walk with God. Sorry about that. And my dear husband, George, has been a very enthusiastic supporter of my hobby. He accompanies me to most of the conventions and enjoys my success when I win top awards. He built me a beautiful workshop, so I'm very thankful to him for that. On to another subject.
Marla, can I pause? Because we have some pictures.
Oh.
Of the dolls.
I can't see them. I have to turn around too far.
Okay.
There they are.
This is Pat more?
No.
Oh.
You didn't watch Downton Abbey, did you?
My wife forced me to watch Downton Abbey.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Yeah, just some of my work.
Wow.
There. Thanks for letting me show those. Okay. Now on again to a different topic. I didn't put all this in chronological order because there's been so much over the years that it's hard to keep track of it all. I have endured 4 surgeries to remove pituitary tumors. Now, many people have said to me, where's the pituitary gland? Is it in your abdomen? Is it in your, where is it? If you stick your finger in here and keep poking it back, it's back underneath, way back underneath the front of your skull. It's the boss of your body. It starts puberty, it rules the thyroid, and who knows all what else. Well, mine got trashed because I had a tumor on it. Not cancerous, by the way, it was not. So 4 surgeries, and then 2 summers ago, radiation to stop the growth, a very stubborn thing. God saw me through all of that and provided loving support from family and friends. Through the fear and anxiety that I experienced, I had to learn that although God allows these things, He gives me assurance that He's got this in His hand. I learned to believe Psalm 31, verses 14 and 15a. Is it up?
Yes.
Okay, but I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hands. I try to apply this to everything in my life, especially the hard things. And, I should mention at this time, I think we all kind of realize this anyway. We all come to church on Sunday. We're all, dressed up nice and smiling faces, and how are you? And I'm fine. And how was your week? Oh, it was great. And whereas we know that maybe it wasn't that great. Maybe there's ongoing things in our lives. Just because we're Christians, we don't have it all together. And I've had a lot of you ladies compliment me on my appearance, my clothes, and things that I wear, but just because I look put together on the outside doesn't mean that I've got the perfect life. I have a good marriage, lots of good things in my life, but I've been through some tough things as well. And I think you can all identify with that. And I like the honesty of this church. I've found that people over the years don't really pretend anymore that it's all good. And I appreciate that. Now, we're going back to 1985 this time. We moved from our hometown of Thunder Bay to Springvale, which is near Hagersville, as some of you know. George took a lateral work transfer from the Thunder Bay hydroelectric generating station to the Nanticoke hydroelectric generating station, which of course doesn't exist anymore. They blew it up. It's gone. However, he was employed there for many years. They paid him well, lots of good benefits. In a way, it seemed like a pointless move. Like it was a lateral position. It wasn't going up to higher pay or a higher position. So why were we moving? Well, we didn't know, but we felt strongly to go. In fact, I should add that George just about didn't want to go because his mother took a stroke and he felt he should remain behind and look after her. But he obeyed God and put his family first, and we came. Now, several years later, we found out that God's hand was definitely in this move. A very unfortunate thing had happened right under my nose. A family member of mine had been sexually molesting our two sons. We got out of there before things got worse. I had not known anything about it. I was talking on the phone with a friend one time, and I knew that this family member had already kind of been found out about the things that he was doing. It wasn't just my boys, it was others, many others. And she said to me, well, don't you think you should ask your boys if they were molested? And I thought to myself, well, duh, why didn't I think of that? So I got off the phone. My boys were teenagers by then. I said, did this family member molest you? Both in unison, they nodded their heads. I thought, oh boy. So, well, we dealt with that and whatever. But it even affected me. It affected me because I felt, and this was irrational, that everybody would be looking at me and saying, is she one of those two? Does she molest little kids? I don't want people to think that of me. And I was afraid, you go out in public, you see a cute little kid in a bank lineup or grocery store lineup, and you smile at them, stuff like that, and say hi, or whatever. I was terrified to do that because I thought everybody would be thinking that I had perverted intentions in mind. So I needed to get past that. That wasn't very nice. And sad to say, this family member was fired from their Christian ministry. I say sad to say, but it had to happen because there were children involved. This person was fired from their Christian minister position, and yes, they did eventually go to prison for that. You think, Christian? Child molesting? Those two shouldn't even be in the same paragraph. I'm sorry to say that yes, Christians aren't perfect people. We have problems. And sad to say, this had happened. But I thank God for his timely move to protect my sons from further harm. Excuse me. Just recently, March 17th to be exact, I suffered a stroke and lost a lot of movement on my left side. God was gracious to me. I'm right-handed, so my right side works. I spent 6 weeks in the stroke unit of Brantford Hospital, which is an excellent place, by the way. And at first I heard 6 weeks. And I thought, well, you all know how quickly time passes these days. It passes faster now than it used to, don't you know? But I thought, oh, it'll be over in no time, and it kind of was. I never, ever, from the onset of the stroke to all the way through the hospital stay, I never felt a shred of fear. I enjoyed God's peace, the peace that passes understanding. And I thought, how come I don't feel upset about this? I'm not scared, I'm not worried. I mean, I guess it can happen again, but I hope it doesn't. And I just thank God I didn't pray for it, I didn't conjure it up, I didn't, grill my head and make myself think that way. I just had his peace. And John 14:27 says, peace I leave, Jesus speaks, and he says, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Now, the peace that the world gives, what's that? Well, as long as you're healthy, got a big bank account, have a job, your marriage is good, your kids are well behaved, you have a nice house, a nice car, you have peace, right? Take one of those things away. What happens to your peace? It's gone. But Jesus' peace is not because of good things, it's in spite of everything. Now, while I was in the hospital, I even had a chance to share the gospel with the lady in the bed next to me. And I found that I was encouraged that I could do that. Like, I don't know how we got on this topic, but she remarked about the crown of thorns on Jesus' head. Oh, she said, that was terrible. And I said, Pat, yes, it was terrible, but it was the best news in the world. And I went on to explain the gospel. And she said, well, I never thought about it that way before. And I was shocked that it was that well received, so I'm still praying for her, and I gave her a book to read, and God willing, she'll keep on with that. And I've had to learn not to feel sorry for myself as I wait for my recovery, but be thankful for what I can do, which is pretty well everything, and for the kind and caring man that I have in my life. He drives me to all my appointments, 2 physiotherapy appointments a week. He drives me, and anywhere else I have to go because I'm not supposed to be driving right now. Hopefully I'll get that privilege back soon. God has been central to me in my life, and without him, I am not doing well. Now, many of you may have heard this, what society tells. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You're a strong person. Look deep down inside yourself. You will find that strength. Well, I'm looking and I'm not finding. I don't know about you, maybe all of you have that, but I sure don't. So don't listen to any of that because it's not true. I like Philippians 1 verse 6 because it says, being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And I am standing on that. And this is my story, and thank you for listening.
Marla and I met on Thursday, and that statement that she has just read, she read to me. And we, just paused for a moment, reflected on it, because, I think we've learned this, and we're learning this as we go through and hear stories from people. There are people that have gone through things that blows your doors off. And sometimes again, Marla mentions the fact that she's so well put together and well coiffed and all that things, and you would think, oh, she doesn't have a care in the world. And then, when you hear the story, all of a sudden it hits home. And this is where we kind of just stop for a moment and meditated, and maybe this is the application. I'll pray to close. But I'm wondering if you resonate with this in the sense of things that don't make sense with God. So in your life, Jesus, I love you. Jesus, I serve you. I honor you with my life. I'm going to do as you say, but then it doesn't add up. Or sometimes it goes a different direction. And you're left wondering, well, what gives? Why in the world did I commit to Jesus and live for Jesus, give my life to serve Jesus? Maybe you even serve at the church or serve in another capacity or a ministry, and then this happens. There's a sickness that comes, or there's a trouble that comes to your family, and you're going, what gives? And it doesn't make sense. And so here's the deal about faith, is that we have to apply faith and live in our faith when life makes sense, and that's what makes it more powerful than if life just made complete sense, it wouldn't be faith. Right? And so what a powerful lesson. The verse that comes to mind is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. It says he will make your paths straight. Well, sometimes your paths don't feel so straight. But the idea is that our job is to trust. And the essence of trust means, hey, you don't have it all figured out. In fact, the adversity might be overwhelming, and you're like, God, what's going to happen here? Well, you need to trust that God is with you. God has a plan for you, that he will, Philippians 1:6, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. And so you have to trust. It doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in an instant. And it doesn't happen just like God is some kind of bellhop for us. And we just say, God, we want these things to happen. Fix this, fix that, take this away. It doesn't happen like that. And sometimes, like George and Marla, actually are a testament to trust in the Lord with all your heart. And lean not on your own understanding. Because in your own understanding, it didn't make sense. The resolution with your mother, and the situation with your boys, and the move, and so many other things. It's like, this does not make sense. And so we need to trust. And so for you today, there might be a situation in your life. I know there's several in my life. And I'm like, God, what gives? Can we fix this, please? And God's like, no, trust in me with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding. Just acknowledge me. Take my hand. We're going to walk together. So I don't know if you want to be honest enough to say, yeah, there's a few things that don't make sense. There's a few things that I'm unhappy with in my life that I would love to be changed. If I could, if I had a magic wand, I would change them in an instant. If I could twist God's arm, I would change them immediately. And God is challenging us to trust him, to allow him to carry out his plan. So let me pray for us.